All right, 4:30, let's go ahead and get the drainage committee meeting started. Let the record reflect that all members are present. Item number 1, request approval to accept the resignation of Stephen Seminole and Rodney Seminole from the Gravity Drainage District number 5 and approve appoint Emma Blunt and Ron Paul Edwards as their replacements.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Blanchard.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, request approval for clean out the outfalls on Sylvia Street, Ward 2.
Yes, sir, that's just outfall that's clogged with mostly grass. We're going with excavator, just sweep the grass off the top.
How about, can we, are we planning to put maybe a little boat in the ditch or what? I kind of almost wanted to go all the way to 10, just to trim trees before they come down, grow in the bayou. Because it makes that look correct.
Yes, sir, it goes all the way to, it actually, no, before it gets to 10, it goes in that lateral canal.
Right.
We'd have to make a better assessment of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do that
We can call
first.
it phase 1 if you want, so I can revisit that for the next agenda.
Yes, I'll just.
Okay.
Make
That's
that-
that dog leg.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's the same one you always, the one that we had issues with the landowner, who
Yeah.
doesn't allow us to get on the property,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
You good now?
Okay.
I'll make a motion to go with phase 1.
All right, total cost of $500. Motion by Mr. Como.
Second.
Second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, request approval to repair the outfall on Highway 1 and Oak Street, Ward 2.
Outfall that goes to bottom, which is about 60 foot of culvert that needs to be replaced. It's all crushed. So it would improve their drainage.
It's very old. Total cost of $2,701. Motion by Mr. Carter. Second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, request approval for a trash guard at the dam in Ward 3.
Yeah, we were getting some estimates, but we didn't get the estimate yet, so I'll just table this to the next meeting.
Item number 4, be tabled.
Want to do the following up, 250, case you have.
Do what? I might need that money along you last week.
Item number 5, request approval to remove the tree from Bison.
I got told to put this one, this tree fell for the storm and it's blocking, but it's real easy to grab.
What's it blocking?
The drainage.
Bruce St. Vincent, the little Bruce St. Vincent Canal that drains all of Bertrand, north of Hagerville.
So move.
Total cost of $250. Motion by Mr. Carter. Second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, an update on Highway 403 drainage project, Ward 6.
That project's moving along very good. I think we changed over 10 culverts on there. So I think we got to the point where we could start changing out the concrete driveways now and the ones that are overlaid. So, and we started sweeping some of the ditch. And we got to continue sweeping all the way around the curve. So I'd say we close to 40 to 50% on that on the south side.
On the south side, so I saw where y'all started sweeping it, y'all started sweeping toward the end by the curb, you need to go a little further up,
Yes.
and also make sure we blow the covers out that need to be blown out.
Yeah.
And then y'all haven't changed no covers on the north side
No,
yet,
not
right?
yet.
Okay, that's fine.
We just got a report, no action taken. Item number 7, discuss catch stations for the parish.
Yeah, I put that on there, I've been talking to Paul, I think probably for the last 2 months or something like that. You know, trying to get an update on each catch basin, how we gonna take care of them.
I had a talk with the guy at the jail. He's a trustee. He got some training, and I went and talked to Larry today. Larry's been busy with the community center because the school's there every 2 or 3 days a week, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I'll be upfront. We don't get any help from the custodial workers at the school, so Larry's got to clean that building just about by himself all the
That
time.
wasn't good.
I know that. So, you know, and so he has nothing on the schedule for the next 2 weeks. He made a commitment to me. So starting next week, we're gonna try to get at least 2 built with the help from one of those trustees, a couple of trustees from the sheriff. And Jamie even knows that he said that the contractor he tried to send me didn't reach out to me. I've talked to like 4 different contractors in the last 3 months, and they're coming and just They don't have the workman's comp. They just don't, they don't like our compliance issues are a little too great from, but I'm trying to go that route with the sheriff's office trustees. I know that the sheriff's gonna be taking in, LaFouche is gonna be have, what you call that, workforce labor coming into the jail in about 2 weeks. And I'm gonna see if I can utilize those guys to come in and, start building, because that's the only route I can see to go at right now.
What I would like to see is a letter sent to the school board requesting that they hold up to the part of the bargain. If they're gonna use the facility, they janitorial rules and agreements to clean it. So,
We can try, but this is the
They
third,
agree.
fourth time we visited this
well,
and
if
they
they,
just
if
don't.
they don't do it, then
They don't
we'll
comply.
have to change something.
Yep. Take the key,
We'll send them a letter, and if they don't comply,
take the key.
we'll make some
That
changes.
curtails, Larry. I know that I don't think we had any rental events in the last 3 weeks, but the school's been using it for and they were full of it. They had a packed house, and he's got to go in there and clean it.
Well,
All
you
that,
might
that
have
is-
to start charging them.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna give you an example. We had an event, I don't remember, Saturday night, I think it was. And the event finished at 11 and we had staffing that we paid till 5 o'clock in the morning because they had to flip that building for the school board to get in there.
Monday morning, the school year, we had.
And we get
some of us
no
there till
assistance from the
4:30
school board. And I know y'all
morning.
keep hearing it from me, but
It's, that wasn't the deal.
it never was, but they just
So
don't.
what, just go,
They feel they have that's their facility and they can use it anytime.
They know that if we need for another event, my man's pressed to get it clean. So they don't, we have a timetable to get it done for the next event. They might, they don't see that pressing time event. So they-
tell them,
and
tell
what-
them, tell them, take the key.
No, why don't you schedule a meeting where a number of parties from this jury is present and bring it to the table. Because somehow I'm not gonna say the conversations have been passive. Gotta be implying that, but let's have a specific meeting on it and figure out who those parties needs to be with the school board. And let's address it that way, because Chris, you're spot on. We need to take some action if they're not gonna comply. But we need to have the right parties. Agree. And that is communicated. And we will have done our part.
So, Paul, as soon as we get some information on these catch basins, because, I've been out
I'll
there,
email y'all.
I think a couple of years now.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we all did that.
Yes,
We all got it.
Thank God we only have like 8 on us. That's, I know that's a high number, but it could be a lot higher if we
What
would.
about the grading? I need something that's
Was that?
grading. Something that's a bit
That was
straight.
done today.
Good, thank
It
you.
was delivered. Yes, sir.
All right, no action there. Item number 8, request to put Giat Street allocation back into the drainage funds and allocate the funds from Oak Lane project to the Giat Street fund. All right, I'll put this on the agenda. The Oak Lane project Oak Lane drains the backside to Giat Street. The only way to get the water off of Oak Lane on a certain side of the road is to Giat Street. So we did that project and it was $5,500. And I used the drainage allocation for that. I would like to take that $5,500, put it back in my drainage allocation and get funding from the Oak Lane project reimbursed.
So you're telling me, if I understand you right, it was a drainage project for GIA. We paid it,
Yes, ma'am.
but you want to instead get it funded from this 92886?
Yes, ma'am. From the Oak Lane fund.
Motion on that.
Motion by Mr. Mathern,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, update on a submersible pump for North Bay Road.
That pump has been purchased. I sent my assistant to talk to the landowner. He said as of right now, he preferred me not do the work because he has some other issues to address with the other pumps. So as soon as he contacts us, that pump will be installed, but we have the pump and the materials to do the job. But
Pump is in-house?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have it in-house. The landowner's just not ready for us to do the job. We talked to him in the beginning of the meeting.
All right, thanks. All right, item number 10, request approval for pump replacement on Cajun Street.
I have a pump on Kaden Street that went out. I'm gonna take the funds out of 92889 to purchase this pump. It's $2,700.
2889.
Yes. 92889. Motion on the floor.
Motion by Mr. Mathern. Second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, request approval.
What about the, that was number 10?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the 200? That's just, you only going, you said 2,700, this quote, this says 2,950. Okay. You gotta out calculate.
That's for the purchase of the phone. The pump itself is 2750, the labor is 200.
What I need.
2,950 is the allocation coming out of that project?
Yes.
Good.
Good.
Item number 11, request approved to rent long reach excavator starting 9/5/23 based on 45-hour
Motion.
rental week, utilizing Gomesa funding.
So previously I asked, oh Lord, that's loud. Previously I asked about, to see if anybody else would reach out to me about our long reach projects to justify for rental. Currently, right now, we have plenty. For Ward 3, you're looking at 9,440 feet is provided by Mr. Irvin. 9,000 foot in Ward 9, 10,000 foot in Ward 6, 6,000 foot in Ward 4. So we have plenty to justify. I think we should go for a 1-year rental. I did calculate 14% of their insurance fee, but because it's an extended rental over 3 months, we'll have to provide our own. We'll have to seek that after. But the total for a 1-year rental, they provide the maintenance. They'll be on site once per month to check maintenance and perform machine maintenance. The total cost for that with the 14% added in is $108,000 per year. And that's for a 60-foot long reach funded out of Gomesa for the 1-yard cubic bucket.
Motion.
All right, Brian, also on this, whenever you do rentals, check to see if we was just so happen to, after this year is up, if we was to purchase this machine, if the rental rate would go into the purchase.
That was offered. That was offered to him.
Okay, so it is available,
Yes, it would be deducted. That he did say that.
100%.
No, I can't make that comment, but he said he would.
What Gomesa fund?
I don't have it.
What you thinking, Jamie? You think,
This is bonded or not bonded? Which one, Chris?
I would think they're not bonded.
I don't either. I have to go back.
I guess my motion is, I motion to approve it out of non-bond if we have
Pending the fund.
pending funding.
If not,
Bring it back.
Motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor? Any opposed?
And with that, Brian, are you gonna produce a schedule to kind of show what projects and what areas?
Yeah, where we're gonna start first,
Feel
an
that-
estimated time. Because some levees will require substantial cleaning before, so we're gonna actually attempt to start digging in one area that requires less digging, cutting the trees out, removing stuff to prep work. We're gonna start there, and we're gonna do prep work in another area. So when we move the long reach, we effectively move it efficiently to each location, and we're prepared for
1 year,
1 year. Yes.
I'm gonna add a project for you.
I'll probably.
All right. So I think we can support that.
Did you bid documents and everything together?
I got 3 prices.
You got one deviation.
Yes, sir. 1D.
Request approval for call replacement at 226 Rudy Boville. Motion to deviate.
I think the question is, before we deviate, I mean, can you do that within 2 weeks? You know what I'm saying? We deviate for something that you might not get to a month down the road.
Well, you make a valid point. That's,
Well, I've got a bad one that I wouldn't deviate on, so
okay.
I can't see deviating on the
Well, we
call.
won't deviate. Let's table that.
Put on next agenda.
Yeah, okay. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Blanchard, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.
We'll call the 4:45 Finance Committee meeting to order. Let the record reflect all members are present. Please, Mr. Alcorn, turn.
Yeah, you got it.
Item 1, request approval to pay list of bills submitted through July 7th, 2023.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval for supplemental pay for ADA Jeffrey M. Hagelin.
This is a replacement, so I do recommend approval effective tomorrow.
A motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Approve rental rate for AHS Sports fundraiser at APCC. I spoke to Maria earlier today. This is the same fundraiser that they held last year. We approved the reduced rate of 50%, the rental rate $2,500 for the event, and they're requesting that same rate for this this next year. So move. Motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discuss dumpster proposals received and select lowest bidder.
Documents in front of y'all. I was asked 2 weeks ago to give the one of the providers and see if they would come up with a 36-month contract, and they did. So both of them are 36-month contracts.
One for 37, 107 a year.
That is one, yes, sir. 37,107 for public, and waste will be 41,356. That's per year. So that'd be a savings of 12,000 over the 36-month period.
Motion by Mr. Carter to accept Republic Services. Second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Approve amended budgets for 2023.
Before I start reading, I just want to give you a few highlights. Good news thus far, hope it stays on track, is that if you remember last year, the interest was really, really bad. So we had a lot of funds where the interest was negative. So far this year, that's not the case. So we're actually showing a positive in the fund. So we've compensated for the negative and we're showing a positive. So that's a plus. The not goods are just to keep your eye out on general fund. We're spending approximately $500,000 more a year than what we're taking in annual. You can calculate that figures how long that'll last. And the drainage budget, we are with this amendment, the budget is down to less than $1 million in it. So if we have some type of storm, that could be very detrimental if we have a major disaster as far as drainage is concerned. So we really need to caution ourselves about the spending. Again, as always, for drainage and general fund, those are the big ones that we really have to be concerned.
I think we're doing a lot more drainage projects now than what we have in the past.
Well, the simple drainage allocation has not changed. It's all the other things, every pump that we get, every levy and maintenance, that's all coming out of drainage. So if you look at your drainage allocation per ward, that's been steady. That hasn't changed. It's everything else, all these hidden, not hidden, but added expenditures by expanding. When you expand your program, there's just more
It's
maintenance.
not only that, I mean, the life expectancy of these pumps is catching up with us right now. So we're having to do more maintenance on.
Right, and we have several redundancies. So it costs to maintain and operate. And drainage is only bringing in the same amount. Our tax base and our sales tax is not increasing. So keep that in mind. That's staying the same where the maintenance is. So at some point, I'm not saying anytime soon, but this jury might have to be faced with the fact that, do you increase from 1/4 cent sales tax to 1/2 cent? Something to that. Just an option to think about. Okay, so 2023 amended budgets. General fund total revenues, $2,495,579. Total expenditures, $2,995,979. Total transfers in $36,246. Transfers out $626,746. Beginning fund balance, $3,029,016. Ending fund balance, $1,938,116. Special revenues fund, total revenues, $17,966,161. Total expenditures, $29,188,341. Transfers in, $2,858,742. Transfers out, $2,587,990. Beginning fund balance, $33,233,510. Ending fund balance, $22,282,082. Debt services fund, total revenues, $95. Total expenditures, $99,358. Transfers in of the same. Beginning fund balance, 3, ending fund balance, 98. Enterprise funds, total revenues, $2,978,684. Total expenditures, $3,261,998. Transfers in, $192,722. Beginning fund balance, $688,689. Ending fund balance, $533,076. I've already read general fund, so I will not read that one again. 1% sales tax, total revenues, $2,984,234. Total expenditures, $1,736,731. Transfers out, $980,019. Beginning fund balance, $4,306,220. Ending fund balance, $4,573,704. Road and bridge, total revenues, $273,887. Total expenditures, $1,297,137. I'm sorry, 136. Transfers in, $994,400. Transfers out, $10,890. Beginning fund balance, $1,425,795. Ending fund balance, $1,386,056. Off-duty officer fund, total revenues, $32,568. Total expenditures, $15,053. Transfers out of $19,000. Beginning fund balance, $7,802. Ending fund balance, $6,317. Criminal court fund, total revenues, $214,574. Total expenditures, $294,854. Transfers in, $89,000. Transfers out, $8,246. Beginning fund balance, $7,771. Ending fund balance, $8,245. Library fund, total revenues, $1,165,468. Total expenditures, $1,018,049. Beginning fund balance, $2,929,757. Ending fund balance, $3,077,176. Road lighting district number 1, total revenues, $179,463. Total expenditures, $83,747. Beginning fund balance, $945,969. Ending fund balance, $1,041,685. Consolidated road lighting, total revenues, $100,599. Total expenditures, $56,375. Beginning fund balance, $350,715. Ending fund balance, $394,939. OEP federal grants, total revenues, $1,079,246. Total expenditures, $2,002,876. Transfers in, $419,250. Beginning fund balance, $2,455,702. Ending fund balance, $1,951,322. Office of Emergency Preparedness, total revenues, $829,747. Total expenditures, $986,866. Transfers in, $120,000. Transfers out, $722. Beginning fund balance, $58,616. Ending fund balance, $20,775. 0.5% sales tax fund, it's the road fund. Total revenues, $1,353,168. Total expenditures, $2,869,732. Transfers out, $75,000. Beginning fund balance, $2,068,948. Ending fund balance, $477,384. Quarter cent sales tax drainage. Total revenues, $697,265. Total expenditures, $1,407,939. Beginning fund balance, $1,649,200. Ending fund balance, $938,526. 911 communications, total revenues, $235,060. Total expenditures, $257,263. Beginning fund balance, $512,608. Ending fund balance, $490,405. Consolidated Fire District, Piedport Bell River, total revenues, $281,793. Total expenditures, $280,793. Transfers out, $1,000. Beginning and ending fund balance, $194,197. Tankerville Fire District, total revenues, $284,285. Total expenditures, $283,285. Transfers out of $1,000. Beginning and ending fund balance, $194,200. Napoleonville Fire District, total revenues, $251,145. Total expenditures, $250,145. Transfers out of $1,000. Beginning and ending fund balance, $172,779. Bayou Lewis Fire District, total revenues, $158,600. Total expenditures, $157,600. transfers out $1,000, beginning and ending fund balance $108,538. Council on Aging, total revenues $1,062,804. Total expenditures $1,090,956. Beginning fund balance $729,234. Ending fund balance $701,082. Labadie Fire District, total revenues $213,216. Total expenditures $212,216. Transfers out of $1,000. Beginning and ending fund balance $141,354. Public Buildings Fund, which is the community center, total revenues $316,345. Total expenditures $447,842. So beginning fund balance $1,288,647. Ending fund balance $1,157,150. Louisiana Cooperative Extension, which is the 4-H office, total revenues $290,412. Total expenditures $493,706. Beginning fund balance $1,052,622. Ending fund balance $849,328. This fund, as you'll look at, you see that's a big hit on the fund balance, but we have those maintenance issues that are budgeted in here from the storm that we have to get fixed. Library Board Fund, total revenues $16,828. Total expenditures $12,573. Beginning fund balance $42,227. Ending fund balance $46,482. Lower Bell River Drainage District number 12, total revenues $2,067. Total expenditures $1,268. Beginning fund balance $10,194. Ending fund balance $10,993. Labadie Drainage District number 3, total revenues $2,763. Total expenditures $245. Beginning fund balance $25,031. Ending fund balance $27,549. Monterey Drainage District, total revenues $317. Total expenditures $10. Beginning fund balance $11,124. Ending fund balance $11,431. Part-time Drainage District, total revenue $693. Total expenditures $10. Beginning fund balance $24,468. Ending fund balance $25,151. Landry Subdivision Drainage District, total revenues $23,100. Total expenditures $22,898. Beginning fund balance $35,236. Ending fund balance $35,438. Oak Ridge Subdivision Drainage District, total revenue $6,349. Total expenditures $9,094. Beginning fund balance $21,410. Ending fund balance $18,665. Northwest Side LA 70 District, total revenues $6,250. Total expenditures $9,015. Beginning fund balance $7,666. Ending fund balance $4,901. Knott's Drainage District, total revenues $3,703. Total expenditures $15,045. Beginning fund balance $34,892. Ending fund balance $23,550. LA 70 to Lee Drive Drainage District, total revenues $9,618. Total expenditures $6,880. Beginning fund balance $32,251. Ending fund balance $34,989. Kelpart Bell River Veterans Park, total revenues $216,164. Total expenditures $214,337. Transfers out $233,071. Beginning fund balance $355,313. Ending fund balance $124,069. Again, you'll see this very large transfers out. This is going to their grant funds for construction projects that they're working. Assumption Gravity Drainage District number 2, total revenue $6,659. Total expenditures $1,520. Beginning fund balance $238,459. Ending fund balance $243,598. Just a note for this district, because their election was delayed, they will not meet the tax roll, so they will not collect any funds for 2023. If their election passes next month, then they would get back on the tax roll in 2024. Assumption Gravity Drainage District number 5, total revenues $1,344. Total expenditures $450. Beginning fund balance $21,958. Ending fund balance $22,852. Bertrandville Rec District, total revenue $66. Total expenditures $10. Beginning fund balance $2348. Ending fund balance $2,404. Bayou Kelpart North Drainage District, total revenue $743. Total expenditures $820. Beginning fund balance $1,963. Ending fund balance $1,886. Kelpart Settlement Drainage District, total revenues $1,270. Total expenditures $1,440. Beginning fund balance $3,855, ending fund balance $3,685. Go Mesa Go Mesa 2021 bonds, total revenues $435,382, total expenditures $7,180,007. Transfers out $1,256,042. Beginning fund balance $11,081,986. Ending fund balance $3,081,319. What we have in this budget as expenditures is what we have allocated, not necessarily spent, but is what is allocated. Lower Texas Drainage District, total revenues $5,201. Total expenditures $254. Beginning fund balance $4,209, ending fund balance $9,156. Ward 1 Recreation District, total revenues $18,202, total expenditures $32,306. Beginning fund balance $28,257, ending fund balance $14,153. This next fund is a new fund, it's the opioid abatement. If you think back to last year or several months back, we got involved in the opioid settlement, where the settlement has finally come through. We got the CEA sent back to us last week, and we have this money in the bank now. I did communicate with the president this morning, I think, or yesterday, as far as the MOU and what the requirements are on spending the money and the restrictions. So we'll be working on that and coming to the board with more information to follow. But this is a new fund.
So you got some guidance for that, Kim?
It's a large range of guidance, but very restricted for us in local government, if that makes sense, because we are not in drug rehab and reform business. So we're going to have to be very creative on how to spend the money. And we do have to report every month to the task force how it is spent. And the funds are subject to the legislative arbiters. So we just have to be careful and we have to be smart about it. So more information to follow. Total revenues, $101,339. Total expenditures, $10,000. Beginning fund balance, $0. Ending fund balance, $91,339. And this is only one payment. It's expected to have multiple years.
So if we just got this, what is the 10?
I'm about to ask the same thing.
Because as I've shared with we have not incurred any expenses. I've talked with the sheriff about some potentials. And we currently under contract with South Central Human Services, in Morgan City for mental health for the inmates. If I can, that's part of our presentation, what we're going to present to you all. If we can get this organization to code invoices to identify those patients that are there for drug rehab that would relate to opioids, we feel we can pay for that service through this
Yeah,
fund.
that's a good idea.
So what that does is that frees up the general fund by that.
Correct.
So I just put in 10,000 to see, we at the end of the year, but that's kind of one thing that we're thinking about.
Kim, that revenue is expected to, as you said, be different intervals. Is it expected to ever end in that way? We be on the hook for those same charges, same expenses that we wound up looking for a medium to start supporting, such as you said.
Well, that's why you got to be
$10,000.
careful. So if you start a new program, if you would start some type of drug court that would substantiate this, if the funding goes away, then the program can go away. So you'd have to be very careful about that. And there are several companies, there's probably about 10 or 12 companies that are in the settlement, and two of them have already filed bankruptcy. So they're going, so we're not going to get any money from them. The bigger companies are still there, and that's who's paying. If all these companies end up folding and going under, then the money goes away. Some of these big companies will not fold. They're the major pharmaceutical companies out there. But yes, it will end eventually. It won't be forever.
Anything else?
Yeah, so we'll have more information on that to come. Bayou Lewis Gravity Drainage District number 1, total revenues, $72,873. Total expenditures, $53,500. Beginning fund balance, $80,562. Ending fund balance, $99,935. Bayou Lewis Recreation District, total revenues, $209,983. Total expenditures, $317,087. Beginning fund balance, $502,062. Ending fund balance, $394,958. Kelport Bell River Sinking Fund, the debt service fund, total revenues, $95. Total expenditures, $99,358. Transfers in $99,358. Beginning fund balance, $3. Ending fund balance, $98. Solid Waste Enterprise Fund, total revenues, $2,648,333. Total expenditures, $2,672,377. Beginning fund balance, $346,133. Ending fund balance, $326,525. OEP Special Industry Fund, total revenues, $87,908. Total expenditures, $89,734. Beginning fund balance, $62,903. Ending fund balance, $78,311. Mosquito abatement, total revenues, $128,285. Total expenditures, $268,954. Beginning fund balance, $276,034. Ending fund balance, $98,257. I have spoken with Justin. He and I have spoken about this fund. There were a lot of increase expenditures this year that Justin says will not be reoccurring, which is good news. But if you look at these numbers, we cannot continue to operate the program at the level we've been if those expenditures will remain the same. So down the road, we either going to have to, the decision would be to increase the program and charge more, or to decrease it in a mechanism to try to keep the expenditures under wraps. Just something to
But
be
for
aware.
years.
We have been at
over
$1
20
since
years,
inception.
25 years.
And the program
Chemical
has,
Goes up, employee cost goes up, everything.
right, and the program is
See if
doing,
it works.
but you're doing a lot more than what you did before, Justin, correct? As far as your trapping.
Yes, but that's really not a huge cost. The trap. I mean,
The chemical
it's
cost is
chemicals
really,
and,
yeah,
employee hours.
and the labor cost, because everything's on
And we
overtime.
got a new truck which we won't get for another couple of years.
Right.
So we'll build that up.
It should build back up a little bit, but we have maintenance on sprayers. They don't last very long. Just keep it in your mind. That's all we say. Consolidated Sewer District, total revenues, $114,158. Total expenditures, $230,933. Transfers in, $192,722. Beginning fund balance, $3,619. Ending fund balance, $29,983. And of course, the reason why this fund balance is what it is because general fund has to cover it. We are in desperate need of getting these plants rehabbed so they can, the maintenance cost is just killing us. Gephardt Bell River Rec Bond Construction Fund, total revenues, $2,877. Total expenditures, $189,045. Bond proceeds, $1 million. Transfers out, $813,832. Beginning and ending fund balance, $0. Community Development Fund, total revenues, $3,013. Total expenditures, $291,205. Transfers in, $283,365. Beginning fund balance, $25,419. Ending fund balance, $20,592. You look at that transfer in and you see that tremendously increased. That's with the additional staff that was brought in and increases in pay that the CDF just cannot cover it alone. Energy Assistance Fund, total revenues, $331,088. Total expenditures, the same, beginning and ending fund balance, $0. Emergency Food and Shelter, total revenues, $10,253. Expenditures, the same, beginning and ending fund balance, $0. Section 8 Housing, total revenues, $561,827. Expenditures, $555,948. Beginning fund balance, $41,932. Ending fund balance, $47,811. Community Services Block Grant, total revenues, $76,692. Total expenditures, the same, beginning and ending fund balance, $0. Capital outlay, repaving of Lee Drive, total revenue, $668,500. Expenditures, the same, beginning and ending fund balance is $0. Capital outlay, Plattenville Drainage, total revenues, $1,864,875. Expenditures, $2,535,000. Transfers in, $670,125. Beginning and ending fund balance, $0. Capital outlay, Assumption Parish Pumps and Drainage, total revenues, $477,500. Expenditures, $644,167. Deficiency of $166,667. Transfers in of that same amount, beginning and ending fund balance, $0. Community Action Agency Advisory Board, revenues and expenditures, $0. Beginning and ending fund balance, $14. Line item appropriation fire hydrants, total revenues, $276,662. Expenditures, the same, beginning and ending fund balance, $0. LeCap, front loading trailer mulcher, total revenues, $9,110. Total expenditures, $20,000. Transfers in of $10,890. Beginning and ending fund balance, $0. Community Water Enrichment Fund, raw water intake, total revenues, $125,000. Expenditures, the same, beginning and ending fund balance, $0. LaGap Courthouse renovations, total revenues, 100,000, expenditures the same, beginning and ending fund balance, 0. Recreational Trails Program, Puyallup Bell River Recreation Canoe Kayak Docks, total revenues, 175,543, total expenditures, 280,588, transfers in, $105,045, beginning and ending fund balance, 0. Low Income Water Assistance Program, total revenues, 141,305, expenditures the same, beginning and ending fund balance, 0. Land and Water Conservation Fund, project budget, total revenues, $1 million, total expenditures, $1,841,500, transfers in, $841,500, beginning and ending fund balance, 0. American Rescue Act project budget, total revenues, $4,252,070. Total expenditures the same, beginning and ending fund balance, 0. Line item appropriation, repaving of Lee Drive, total revenues, $1 million, expenditures the same, beginning and ending fund balance, 0. I will share with you also, relative to these budgets, it's not incorporated in here, but Paul did mention that the sheriff is getting ready to have Lafourche Parish inmates coming into the jail because they reconstructing that jail because of Ida, is that it?
No, this is for,
What is, what, I'm not sure.
workforce,
A workforce?
yeah, work, what you call that, when they get out early, like.
Workforce release.
Right,
That's
so,
it,
so
work
he's
release
coming to
program.
utilize the jail and,
Temporary
The new jail?
or permanent?
the jail, because he's
I
in the
didn't
old.
I didn't ask, but that sounds like. a
It's
permanent-
temporary. It's temporary, but they didn't tell me a time period. But he and I talked and we looked at what we charged Terrebonne Parish when they utilized our jail and the cost. And you might not remember, but we currently send a lot of our female inmates to Lafourche. So we paying almost $7,000 to $8,000 per month for that. So he and I, mostly the sheriff, is working with an arrangement with him to where that'll wash itself out. So rather than us seek reimbursement from 1% to satisfy the utilities, which we pay in anyway, we're going to treat it as a reduction of what our general fund pays for these female prisoners to help on the general fund side.
A wash.
Yeah, a wash, but on a general fund side, it's a better side for us.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I get a motion to approve amended budget? Motion by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Johnson, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? You get a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Johnson, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Finance Committee meeting adjourned.
All right, 5:13, we'll call the Personnel Committee meeting to order. All members are present. Number 1, request approval of the proposed personnel manual amendments as presented.
Okay, if you look at your packet, we talked about this the last time I had amendments and y'all recommended this. So this is included for you all to review and see if this is satisfactory. And also there's an attachment that you have separate on your desk in front of you, which is an amendment to the fleet safety program. It's relative to when we had a meeting with the insurance company on type A versus type B violations and the reckless driving or DUIs and the time expiration of 5 years. And we want that information to be reflected in our plan so that it doesn't impede our hiring process.
Yes, it changes our policy to agree with the insurance company's recommendation instead of our outdated policies.
So this is for your discussion, and if approved, we'll go ahead and incorporate this into the plan.
All right, that works good for you.
Yes, sir.
Motion from Jamie. Second by Pat, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned by Jamie. Second by Leroy, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Now, we now start the Federal Programs Committee meeting. Let the record reflect that all members are present. First, we have got request approval to authorize the president to sign the LAHEAP fiscal year 2023 amendment.
Yes, we have two amendments for the president to sign. The first amendment is for $28,743. LAC Louisiana Housing Commission will apply the supplemental benefits retro to all clients who previously received the CAA 2023 supplemental. And out of the 28, 3,000 will be used for crisis. That's the first one. 28,743 for the first one. The second,
You said 3,000 of it will be used for prices.
for crisis. Yes, for clients who have not received. The second amendment, Assumption Parish was one of 12 sub-grantees to receive the highest percentage of 2023 funds expended as of July 18th. So therefore, we were allocated another $24,150.
Good job.
These funds will be available to deliver cooling assistance to clients who have not previously received a 2023 cooling assistance.
Cooling, okay.
Meaning a fan,
No. Assistance with their light bill.
okay.
Assistance with their light bill.
The new clients, basically, new
Well,
clients.
if that's what you want to call them. And we don't have to search for them. We already have them because we have about 50 to 70 clients that receive LAWEP, which is the water assistance. And we didn't have any funds for them to receive LAHEAP. So they will be eligible to receive this fund.
We have a big demand.
Yes. And we're looking at $24,150 for the second amendment. So it will go pretty fast.
Yeah, we have something like that.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve. amendment.
Okay, motion by Mr. Carter,
Second.
second by, who was it, Mike? Mr. Carter. All in favor? Any nays? Motion carries. Next, we have got request approval to authorize the president to sign the CSBG fiscal year 2024 contract in the amount of $75,836. Motion.
So,
Move. Motion by Mr. Alcone, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Any nays? Motion carries. Motion carries. Motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Nature.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started with engineer and grant committee meeting. All members are present. First item is update on project status and funding secured sources by GIS engineering.
Good afternoon, Jared. So right now on the funding sources, we have met yesterday for the Conscien DSP project. So that kickoff meeting was held with parish representatives and the GIS team, working together with OCD to get that project moving. As soon as the CEA is officially signed and completed, we can really start getting the survey and get everything moving. And the contract with parish GIS would have to be administered. We don't have that unless we could do it as an amendment to the standing contract. But I think it would be much cleaner, and it's federal dollars and state dollars tied to it, to have a standalone DSP project for Conscien Canal. So that's just my recommendation. I can work with Megan and put that on the agenda for next meeting. As we go through that CEA, we should know more exact dollar figures and whatnot. And the state has that number, but some of the verbiage and terminology that's going to be included on that CEA should be included within our contract as well. That way it refers back to the state's regulations. The one pager is underway. So right now, we realize that there's a lot of projects identified inside the master plan. And this one page I'm referring to, the flyer, leave behind for our delegation to DC. So what we're looking into is almost like a laminated folder that opens up. So you have your cover, you open it up, it has the projects, the funding sources that we applied for in the back, or it have a map on it to show the location of every project. So that would be the leave behind, and the ask is to support the funding of those projects. So it all be documented in one single folder, laminated folder, with a nice piece to leave behind. Next, we have the LWI Region 6, round 2 projects. That's the 3, St. Vincent, Himalaya, and Himalaya is the greatest percentage of LMI benefit. So right now, those 3 projects, along with Grassy Lake and outfall dredging, those are all into round 2 to be voted on. So we don't know on the 23rd that Region 6 is having their committee meeting, and that will be all hashed out. So we're going to know yes or no by next meeting. And then following that, looking into the northern reach would benefit Assumption Parish is the Bayou Soil Pump Station is still underway inside of Iberville. So that project is still moving on the northern piece of north of Pigeon. So right now, still chasing down different funding sources. There's a bunch out there, and we'll just keep pushing. So that's the funding update. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
The next item is update from the grants coordinator.
Not much has changed on my grants update list, so I only provided y'all with the spreadsheet that has the budgets on it instead of also with the Word document in order to save some.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Discuss the engineering.
I've got something for number 12. I don't know who put that.
I put that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
All right.
that's 12.
You're on number 3, thank
There's something different.
Yeah, okay, fine.
I put this on there, just, we have no definition exactly what the retainer covers. So I'd like to see us produce some kind of contract to protect him and us, There's no real contract or definition exactly what retainer covers and doesn't cover, right?
I'm not arguing that, but I can tell you pretty much anything we ask, I find that that's what he works on. But if y'all see you need more specificity.
It's not, I would think it's not about asking and him denying or not. It's just so we can identify a funding source if something's gonna fall under retainer or if we should be expecting a separate contract.
There's
More
a
than that.
contract in place that outlines all of that. I'll be,
Do we have it?
unfortunately, I was not aware about this item tonight, so otherwise I would have brought it with me and provided it, but
It-
We
it-
don't
I
have
will
it.
I will provide the latest copy to Ms. Torres that outlines everything and, you know, feel free to review the scope and ask questions.
When was that approved?
It's been a while. It's under an what it is it's under a current auto renewal.
Yeah, it probably just needs to be revisited.
And that's no problem, no problem at all. I'll have that provided to you tomorrow. I apologize, I didn't, huh?
Auto renewal.
It's on a renewal, it's on a 4-year term. And then upon that 4-year term, the jury at that point, if they elect to do so, they can extend it. Or if they choose to do nothing, it automatically renews to an annual basis where it can be, you know, you can address it at any time. But you also have clauses in that contract that allow you to basically terminate it within any time in that 4 years or within that auto renewal. There are some stipulations in there. There are some stipulations in there, you know, regarding 30 days and certain notices and so forth, but you have that freedom to opt out at any time.
Please get us that
Yeah, I'd like
information.
to.
That way we could start looking at maybe terminating the contract.
There you go.
Okay, next item, request approval for the president to sign solicitation of views letters from Bell Road Library Walking Trail for recreational trails.
So the grant for the Belrose Library Walking Trail that we rewarded, these are our next steps of moving forward, is signing those letters so we can mail them and they can send us a response letter. And then I have to turn those in and then they will give us our next step of moving forward.
Is there a match for this?
Yes.
Yes, it's coming,
Are you ready? Okay.
it's let me see.
15,000.
Yeah, 15,000 and it's coming out of Leroy's reg budget, which I did reach out to the Belrose Library and they are going to present that as possibility of also contributing to that.
Okay, motion by Leroy,
Second.
second by Jeff, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Request approval for the president to sign the Constant Canal CEA.
Motion.
Motion by Mike,
Second.
second by Jamie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item, request approval for the president to negotiate sign contract with Infinity Engineering for the sewer rehab project.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Ron, second by
Jeff.
Chris.
Mr. Raul Chauvin is here tonight with Infinity, if anybody has any questions
Jeff,
for him.
second by Jeff.
Yes.
All in favor? Opposed? Next item is request final approval for mobile home park at 66.
86.
86 and 66, 92 and 66, 98 Highway 1 in Bell Road.
So move. Oh, me.
Second.
Motion by Leroy,
Hold on, we got something.
He has everything except the lights are not installed yet. He has the work order with Energy just hasn't done it yet. So I would recommend y'all approve it contingent upon the light installation.
Agreed.
okay.
He said he need no deviation at all for that one.
Energy.
No, he got the work order, we just waiting.
The energy can hold this process up, right? He's
Yeah.
trying to make moves.
Yeah, I don't, he
He's trying
wants to, when they install it, he don't want to wait 2 weeks because they got people in that paint and it's.
Yeah. Okay,
You saw the work on?
I haven't seen it. But I mean, either way, we're not gonna turn his lights on until the lights installed.
Let's just remember that and do the same when others are trying to do the very same. I'm in favor. I would not want to hold them up.
okay, motion by Leroy,
Second.
second by Ron, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Request approval of payment of the engineering work done for the parish-wide sewer project and identify funding sources.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I put this on the agenda. I know there was a part of a meeting. Where the president wanted to put his eyes on it, ask some questions. I also know that assistant parish manager was involved. And the parish president asked the assistant parish manager to go ahead and make an evaluation among yourself. So assistant parish manager, Brian, would you like to speak on that?
Yeah, there was a meeting and I went and reviewed the plans. And like I stated before, I agree on 40% completion based on the electrical drawings. And that's my take on it. I go on the 40% for the electrical side. It was very nice. The drawings were very good. They were complete. It had the pump curves, it had everything. So my 40% completion is based on the electrical side. The electrical panels and the drawings of VFDs, the three-phase motors to be installed. That was the valuable part of the information that we were not presented with because it was proprietary.
Mr. Blankenship, have you seen the invoice?
I saw a portion of it.
On the flash drive that was submitted to us? Did you see these plans?
I sure did.
Was it the same plans to reflect the invoice? Yes or no?
No,
Okay. So why will we have a different set of plans coming from the engineer?
As he stated, there's proprietary information that I am not going to release to the jury and cannot release to the jury by law.
But the first.
But you
plan just
expect us
sent
to pay you?
The first plan just sent us on that jump drive, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
that
sent
was-
you, I
that
sent
was
you
with
what,
the-
I sent you what I
That
could,
was the invoice.
I sent you what I could release.
But the parish had already paid for 3 of those plans in 99, 2004, and 2005.
This is pertaining to this project and the work done for this project.
But we got this bill with that jump drive, right?
Understand that. You all requested, I have been patient, I'm not pushing. You all asked for the president to review. You all asked
You
for,
tried to slip one on us.
no, sir, you were there, so.
That's, I was there. Guess what was presented to us with this invoice? Fair enough.
Mr. Como?
Okay,
I got a motion on the floor to approve it, approve his 40% allocation based off the recommendation from the assistant parish manager and to go ahead and get the allocation out of the general
the
fund.
40%.
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion on the floor by Ron.
So you want to pay 40% of 126,000? Or just this line item?
No,
No.
It would be the total.
it's gonna be the total.
$126,000 for a set of drawings that he was not going to give us. That was never presented to the
I second the
jury.
motion.
So
All right,
I have a question before. Are you going to be authorized to release the electrical portion
Yes,
with this?
yes.
Because the engineer had stamped it as being preliminary.
yes. I've already had those discussions with them. And that is something that we once I'm paid for the drawings, I'm able to pay him and satisfy those needs and get that released.
Have you spoken to Infinity to see if they can use this portion of that
We
the effort
met,
that we're purchasing towards this project?
we met briefly this afternoon. We were short on time, but I did assure Infinity that any drawings I have regarding existing plans as well as any work that we have done on the proposed work will be released to them.
Can we have that in writing?
You'll have it in the form of a motion and I'll place it in writing. Yes, sir.
Still
Got a motion on the floor and I second.
all right. Motion is made by Ron to pay the 40%. Second by Patrick.
How many times this happened before?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Who all voted for it?
Mike and Jamie, some 2 nays.
2 nays, but how many?
Y'all the rest, sir. 7-4, 2 against.
Wait.
You don't have to say no. It's a meeting, Johnson.
Just a committee.
I mean, just a committee. My bad. Sorry for that.
So how many voted for?
I voted for.
One, two,
Leroy, Jeff, Ron,
Patrick,
and Patrick.
3 for and 2 against.
4.
4 for, okay, all right, motion passed. Next item, request approval to rent equipment for Bertrandville Drainage Outfall Clearing and Snagging Project and authorize the Road and Bridge staff to complete the project.
Well, gentlemen, we know that's the reflection of what we spoke about earlier, but just keep in mind, that some of these projects are gonna take place during recreational hunting and possibly during grinding season, so there may be other projects we deviate to accommodate during that time, and we'll come back to. Just keep that in mind.
Motion. Motion on the floor, Mr.
Motion by Ron,
Second.
second by Mike, all in favor? Opposed? Next item, request approval to change order of GIS engineering for Plottenville Drainage Project not to exceed $400.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I put this on the agenda. There was some additional surveying work that was needed to go with some documents that Mr. Calabro has to have part of the agreement. So there was some extended work. So I need this, I'd like to have this change order approved, and I do have a motion on it. Second.
Okay, motion by Ron, second by Pat, all in favor? Opposed? Next item is engineering selection.
Skip one.
Telephone.
The amendment, Mr. Irvin.
What?
Your amendment agenda. You should have a revised agenda.
Oh, okay. wait a minute. Okay, what is it?
Update on Sacramento. Yeah. number 11.
Update on the Tacopah Landing project.
Yes, a meeting took place last week with the contractor as well as the parish attorney and parish representatives. We walked the site and discussed the possible taking over or acceptance of the launch portion of the project by the parish, of course, with the necessary stipulations to allow them to complete the restrooms and so forth. As a result of that meeting, I am in receipt of a change order request from the contractor totaling about $20,833.24 for various items that were discussed. In addition to that, as I stated on the site, I am acquiring the services of a surveyor. I have lined them up. They're going to be there at 9 a.m. on Monday morning to verify certain elevations of the site. And we proposed or requested change order items by the contractor to basically consider their validity. And then we will be placing this in a form of motion with recommendations to the jury.
So why has taken so long? We met last Monday.
Yes, and I told you it was going to, at that time, I told you it may take up to a week.
But what
To
about
align a survey.
what about all other questions?
As I said, I received a request for change order for
How
those
about the
items.
ADA
I'm
walkway?
not in, the ADA walkway has been redrawn again and will be presented to the contractor. However, he has refused construction layout. So with that said, we're gonna turn over these drawings.
Did it? Did he send them to you?
Absolutely not.
I told you, I
He's lying again. It's like he's already
I
done.
am not,
He sent a second set of drawings after a year of designing this. He sent a second set, and they're also incorrect, in compliance with ADA requirements of 1/12 slope, or as he discusses, 5% slope. He never sent a third set. I don't know how many sets it's gonna take to actually get it correct, but we cannot build it as he has designed it. When he says I have refused layout, I'll lay out my work. I'm not doing his survey work for it. That's his job. That obviously is incapable of doing correctly after the second time. And I know y'all like to pay him on all those types of things, Ron.
All right, okay.
you have your
Anything
update
else
for me,
on that?
gentlemen. There's nothing more for me to add.
So when will we have?
our costs?
As I stated, I received a request for change order on those remaining, on the items that were discussed at that meeting. The items or RFIs that I have to date have been responded to the contractor. I am now analyzing this request for change order and its breakdown to see if it requires any validity or action by this jury.
That's
Mr.
again a
Lambert, did he
complete
answer
and
the-
utter lie.
Did
The
he answer the-
How
RFIs
is it
have
a lie?
not been, I didn't interrupt you.
Hold on.
Did he answer the
This
fire?
isn't
I
your
didn't
meeting.
interrupt you.
This isn't your meeting.
Yeah, we can't
interrupt
keep
you.
going on and on, but the last meeting was at 5 outstanding RFIs. Did he answer?
No, sir.
Why are you
We
not?
gotta get the
Why
project
is he,
done.
what is not being answered?
The last 5.
RFIs that we sent to you. It's called a request for information. You have to respond to them with information on your deficiencies. I know this is
Gentlemen, you
difficult.
have my recommendations, you have my report.
And I own you
if you
boys. You
choose-
better do what he said.
Hold on,
If
hold
you,
on, hold
no,
on.
Yes.
gentlemen, I'm not getting into a discussion with this. If you're gonna allow a contractor to dictate your construction contract to you and follow his recommendations as opposed to mine,
I have no
that is
recommendations.
entirely your business. You have my recommendations and you have my report. That is what was requested of me tonight.
I got no
When
recommendation.
will the questions be finally answered?
Once I have sufficient time to have my surveyor take care of those items that are currently in question, as well as noted deficiencies that we found on the site, including the evaluation of the change order request that was sent. Because those RFIs that you're referring to are tied to this change order request. I cannot authorize an expenditure. This jury has to authorize that expenditure. I have to be able to give you a recommendation and report on those items. This very contractor has submitted those requested costs in the past and numerous mistakes were found. So I am carefully going through these, as well as some of these claims for cost are included as part of the lump sum project, and he does not have the right to additional change order.
I got to write anything you missed the draw on the drawings, which is.
Just get it done ASAP. We kept saying this, we can't just kick this down the road, down the road. down the
Not
road.
kicking it down the road. I told you it was gonna take me at least a week to get to get a surveyor out there, and
That was
he is
2
doing
weeks
so.
ago.
Just a minute.
For clarity, can we just put the FRIs on, the RFIs on the record, please? Because we keep going on circles on this. We have the contractor here, we have the engineer, without any flippant commentary by either party. Can we just go through them one at a time and let Mr. Diaz, as well as the jury, understand where we are on these particular items?
Yes, sir. If anybody has the list in front of
Yes, I'm
them, please
trying to
read and I'll
find it.
listen.
It was the same 5 or 6 we stated last meeting.
And those have been in the query for probably 4 to 5 months.
It'll take a while to find.
In addition to the drawings that we're waiting for, when we was at that meeting, he said that there were limestone that went all the way around the bathroom area. And then when we showed him his drawings, he said that, we were in fact correct. And he did notice it after, I'm gonna leave the commentary out. He noticed it and was gonna get back with us with another drawing, which would be more added cost to the jury to put in limestone in those areas, because if you've been there, the grass is about 3 to 4 foot tall. I don't know, we'll be cutting that grass and those types of things, but I don't have those drawings.
I got it. It's RFI 18, the Cameron Pay Station. RFI 27, the ADA walkway. 28, light pole under power line. 29, erosion at bulkhead near dumpster area. And number 30, the erosion around the backside of the restroom and pavilion.
Yes, sir. I think we talked about those.
And all of
Maybe in
those have been
August or
responded
January?
to the contractor.
He's got the response to those?
No, sir.
Yes, he does.
Read your response to everybody.
And I know you have the response to them because you have submitted a request for change order
If you ask
for
them to
those
read the
exact items.
responses, so we can, like,
The
we read the
No,
RFI,
this is
let's
his
read the
request.
response.
Can you get to your responses?
I will get to my responses.
Please do.
And then additional ones.
On 7/28/23, an email was sent to Mr. Joey Glover, Quentin Landry, and 17 others. RFI 18, we will move forward and order the camera option number 4. We have reached out to the manufacturers of the pay station and we are waiting pricing options and we'll move forward with that information as soon as we get it. RFI 27.
So can we pause right there? And so
You asked me to read you the responses to the
I'm
RFI.
asking you to pause right there so we can talk about that response.
Respond to that one.
The response is, so you've given me a part of the answer. The first one is the cameras, right? And then in his statement, he's telling you that he has reached out to the pay station people and he is awaiting response. That's not an answer. That means that we are waiting on additional information from him for that. That's what he just read to you. Now we can go to the next.
If I may clarify that, Mr. Glover later on in another email submitted to me the cost for that we requested, the information that I was waiting on. I then responded back to him what option of the pay station after discussing it with Mr. Diaz of which pay station and which camera system we are using. You asked me for when and how I responded to these RFIs, and I'm indicating that to you. I will send you, you all have been copied on 99% of this. So I'll be happy to resend those responses
Do we
again.
pick an option?
We see his response. I don't see his response.
All right, he cuts everybody off.
Because it is not within contract, you shouldn't be including the entire jury on correspondence between contractor and engineer. Nevertheless,
Much trouble. I mean, we should be included.
All right,
Transparency is
so
horrible.
any other answers you have? Dr.?
RFI 27. See attached plan below for the path and the ADA walkway. We submitted that plan to them. He indicates that he was unable to do it because he's stating that it didn't meet ADA. So we again adjusted that and revised it. I will be turning it over to him once I have had the opportunity for my surveyor to verify the elevations of which I have requested of him and he has refused.
I'm not doing your job.
I'm not asking you to do my
So
job.
you
I'm
are,
asking
you
you to
actually-
verify.
Your plans are
Go
not
through
meeting ADA standards.
That has nothing to do with the contract.
As an engineer, why should the contractor catch that and not you?
He's not catching it. He refused to provide
I'm
proposed
confused,
elevations.
the engineer.
But he built.
I
the-
am not asking him to engineer. It is there are elevations indicated on the plans. Those elevations have changed throughout the construction of the drawing. I am simply asking for the contractor to verify and provide the elevations that he put. He has refused, so therefore I am acquiring a surveyor at my own expense and getting those elevations, and I will supply that drawing, which will meet ADA standards, once I have those elevations in my possession.
Okay, I think we're good on that. one.
Makes
Move
sense
on to-
now.
I
Makes
agree.
sense
I think
now.
we're good on the
Next
next. Go
Move
ahead.
on, yes, sir.
Just wasn't getting the whole story.
Correct.
Okay, number 28, light pole under power line.
Regarding the light pole, we had discussed it with them. I had given them an answer about possibly rotating the arm of the light pole. However, once we went out on site last week, it indicated to me that it wasn't, the arm was not the issue. It was, they were having trouble because they were encroaching upon the 10-foot radius of Entergy and the line itself. At that time, we stated that we would look into getting a shorter pole if there was any form of credit for returning the other poles, such as a restocking fee or so forth. He has provided that cost to me within the requested change order that I am looking at right now in order to give you a proper recommendation regarding RFI 28. But he does have a response. Now, he submitted additional information as requested, and we would like the opportunity to evaluate that information to make sure that you are getting what you're paying for in your lump sum project.
I never mentioned the arm. He just misread it. It says light pole, but he just puts these fast answers out so you can kind of go on down the road. So I gotta ask again. So I think we have clarity
I
there.
have it in writing from your people right here that says that the light pole itself is the issue, not the arm.
Right, because you responded about turning the arm.
What's your next one?
Whatever.
What's your next one?
RFI 29.
Oh, your daddy.
No one agreed to install, his claim is that no one from his firm agreed to install the Parish supplied wrap at the corner of the launch. That is incorrect.
I didn't say no one could,
You said no one
Can.
agreed.
and.
No, it says here,
It's
no
a
one agreed.
field, it's a field worksheet that you have in your office and you put in the spec book. It says a
Again,
field, if you would, it's a field worksheet. What happens with a field worksheet is it's really a cool thing, right? So when you go out in the field and you talk amongst people that forget things or believe they heard something, you put it in writing. It's his sheet he created, not me, that he has in his spec book that says field changes. You go out there, you discuss things with people, and you write it up. And then you can submit that to the file, and everybody knows what everybody talked about. The superintendents in my field, just like a lot of people that work underneath you, don't have authorization. to
and I have
spend-
asked multiple times for you to get somebody out there with authorization.
I'm that
I'm
man,
tired of
bro.
going these things
I don't
over
give
and
a shit
over
how
again.
tired you are.
Enough, again, gentlemen, can we just act like adults for
Yes.
5 minutes?
Just answer the question.
Please just answer the questions. We're on RFI number 29, and we're talking about erosion at a bulkhead near a dumpster. Is there a plan to rectify this situation?
I have submitted a cost to the jury to supplement his deficiency. Yes, I do
That's
not
on the-
have
that's on the
direction,
change order.
and I do not have
Yes, that
direction.
is on the change.
Okay, so that's, we can move on to the next one then. Number 30, erosion at bulkhead near fuel pavilion inside of new restroom slab.
We answered that on site as well as in this email to grade and compact the material around that bulkhead. The bulkhead in question that he's referring to is a private bulkhead. We are not allowed to touch it. At that point, once he is able to grade and compact that material, we will have to determine at that point if in fact there is an erosion issue. Right now, all of the material is loose and all of the material is not compacted to specification, and construction is still going on around the
It's
building.
just dirt though.
Right now, it is just dirt. That is correct.
So we have walkway, bathroom building, old pavilion, and dirt in between. No stone.
That's
no
not the
limestone.
area that we're discussing. We're talking about the erosion on the
Behind
backside,
the
the
building.
backside of the building
Right.
where it adjoins to the ballroom.
And it's not a bulkhead right there. That's just a deck
No, there is a bulkhead there.
There's a bulkhead.
down underneath the deck.
There
It's-
is
it's
a
it's
bulkhead.
It's a foot separated from the deck. Yes, he's correct.
There is a bulkhead there and it is a private bulkhead.
That I couldn't answer.
Nevertheless, we have given him a direction to be able to move forward on that particular item until it can be determined that that is in fact an erosion issue.
Mr. Landry, is that also on the change order? Or is that had not? has that
No,
not been
so
addressed?
what was set out in the field was that he was going to get back to us about putting limestone in all these particular areas. After we showed him the drawings, he said, yeah, you're right. I do see where I didn't put what you said. I thought I had, I guess I should say. And he said he was gonna get back to us.
And in the
And I am not compacting that material that's there because it's not called for in the specifications. And if he can draw up a sheet, I'll gladly have him send it all to
I'm
you
glad-
that shows me in the specification where I'm supposed to compact dirt outside of a structural slab. So I'll gladly do it if you can
It is-
provide that.
Okay.
I'm on the record. I'll
You're on the
gladly
record,
do that.
you on the record, and you have the right to dispute any plan or
Deficiencies.
specification as you see fit. However, that does not make that decision final. And as I
It is on
understand
my
it,
company.
this project is being turned over to litigation, so we'll let them decide that.
Okay.
I am not gonna sit here and debate.
Again, time out.
Answer the
Again,
question.
I am not gonna sit here and debate my specifications.
Okay, we're not, Mr. Engineer, okay, every time we bring up litigation, there's discussions about downtime as it relates to litigation. None of the items that the jury needs to hear tonight has anything to do with litigation, so we need to stop making that comment. As it relates to number 30, do we have a plan of how we're going to rectify that? We're saying limestone
No, sir.
is possible, he's gonna address that with the contractor, we're gonna get back with Mr. Diaz.
He has
and
been
Mike.
given a directive.
Okay, so we're gonna need to follow up on that formally. Mr. Diaz, are there other items that need to be?
So what's the directive he has been given, so we all know about?
The directive was to grade, compact, and dress the material as per the plans and specifications. And then we would address if it is an erosion issue. At that time, we could then determine whether or not we needed to add stone and obtain a cost from him to do so.
So the material that he's gonna get it on site?
It's on site, it's there.
Sure.
There's more than enough material there.
So you got an erosion problem, so you're gonna be borrowing
I don't know
material from
that-
on site? And then
No.
you're gonna have to come back up with
No, sir.
limestone?
No, sir. I gladly invite you out there. There's more than enough material. What we are proposing at this time is just to allow him to grade and compact the material per plan and specification, let him complete the bathrooms. And if it is in fact an erosion issue, at that time, we could get a cost from him on adding any necessary wrap or stone and address that issue if it is still in fact to be the case.
Okay, Mike, anything else you have?
Those are all the RFIs.
And all of those RFIs were answered on July 28th in an email to Mr. Landry, his subs, his information along with 17 other individuals. So the question here was that those RFIs were not answered, when in fact they were. He may not agree with those answers. He has additional
But they
information.
were answered, correct?
Yes.
I mean, if he responded to you, the RFIs.
He responds with non-answers, as
That's his
I
opinion.
mentioned to you before about
Yeah,
how.
okay, we gotta
Okay,
move
so-
on. We can't keep
You don't want to
going.
discuss it, Mr. Irvin?
Mike, is that all you need?
One more question. How long will it take to get this, your surveyor and these 6 on that change order? How long does it take you to get this?
I will have a recommendation sent to the jury in writing prior to the next meeting so that you have the ability to make a decision at that meeting.
Please make sure that Mr. Poirier is receiving all of these correspondence as well, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's it, Mike?
Yes, thank you,
Yeah.
Mr.
Okay. All right, that's
You
it.
have anything else, Mr. Irvin?
I think that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see. Next item is engineering selection process discussion.
Which form you looking at?
Number 12, I don't know what y'all got.
Yeah, all right, y'all put that on the agenda.
Just use the one in your left hand, sir.
Huh?
Just use the one in your hand. Use that one.
I put that out. And basically, guys, I know that we've established an engineering review and scoring committee to make recommendations to ourselves. We also know that we have local firms that have specific knowledge of and familiarity with the project scopes that we've advertised. Particularly our master drainage plan has projects in the millions of dollars and a large volume at that. The projects will require engineering. I'm making a motion that we add the selection process, that is, add to the selection process, the submission of the top 3 firms to the jury for consideration and allow us to select more than one firm necessarily, regardless of scoring, according to the project needs and volumes that we've got coming forward. We all know that, for instance, GIS has done extensive work with the same. And my recommendation is for us to allow ourselves to have the flexibility to select more than one engineering firm based on the project needs that we're going to be encountering to get our projects done in a timely fashion.
The law doesn't allow that.
We,
They don't allow you to
The
do
project-
that.
I mean,
I'm referring to the projects going forward.
If you have federal money and you're going out for bid and for procurement, and if you want the flexibility to choose who you want, what's the point?
I think you missed the point. I'm not saying anything that we have selected already. That's accepted and done.
I know, you're talking about the future, the top 3, and you pick who you want based on your
Other
needs.
firms does that. Other firms,
I'm not sure how they're accountable, but I don't see how that puts you in alignment with what the law requires.
maybe you missed the point. You select from the scoring, the top 3. You can have 10. You select the top 3. And this jury, to see fit to get to your end, have the right to choose.
I understand
Of those
exactly
firms.
what you said.
Okay,
Based on
let me
those
ask you this. How many projects they had? There was more than one project.
In
right?
what?
I'm talking
In
about
that score.
in the master, just said in
Yeah,
the master plan, just said we go out for, we have 6 projects.
Okay, can they score each project or what?
Engineering has to be done based on the scope, similarity of scope of the project, which is why we had a scope of a project for engineering for levies. So if we have another scope of project for pumps or sewers, that was a different scope. So we had to go out for the sewer scope. We had to go out for the levy scope. You
So
have
y'all
to
went out for
group
each one of
similar
them for
projects,
the,
not for projects. You have to group similar the types
Scopes
of
of
projects,
work.
scopes of
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
together, Scopes.
Yeah.
So that's going to determine how many.
I asked around a couple of guys at DOTD, and they do it all the time. They have multiple road projects, and they have a committee that does the same thing from scoring, and then it goes to the third floor, and the director, the Secretary of Transportation, he picks the top three, and him and his team, they choose wherever whichever firm they want to do the project. So yes, it can be done.
but
I tell you
I
what.
think this is governed by federal government. When
Yeah,
you
this
get
is
federal
not, this is
grants.
not Kim rules.
Yeah, federal grant.
I don't
Where
understand.
the state might be doing this, but it's not a federal grant.
So this
It's not a
board,
federal grant, you can do it.
this
like you're
jury
saying.
created a procurement process for us to follow. So we are following that process. With all due respect to everybody sitting here, because the evaluators are not evaluating who you all politically want to give the job, we have to revamp the process.
I don't think it's
That's
a
what we're
political
dealing
thing. I
with
say
here.
it's more about knowledge. Because
I
I mean,
disagree.
if you go in there, you got an engineering firm that put it in the master plan, that engineered, that walked the levees with jurors and residents. And he's still at the bottom of the tier. And someone that doesn't know or haven't seen the levees, but this is someone who's worked.
But Ron, did you look at the scoring evaluation criteria?
I looked at
You
it.
do not just get scoring because of experience or familiarity with where the project is. It's an overall scope. We had 5 different evaluators. We did not even share scores. We could not even see scores. Every single one of them evaluated in the same order. But we're going to look at the process and to say the process is faulty. That is a very unbiased process that we follow. If you want this jury to make that decision, it will become a very politically biased process. And if you feel that that can be done, the auditors will be here shortly. Ask them. Ask them about it. Because this is not a Kim rule. But I participate in that process just as some of these other people. And we do an honest job in our evaluation. Y'all want to evaluate it? Y'all can have it.
I'll second that motion.
The,
It works.
the recommendation that I would have is that we have the scoring committee at least contact the jurors with specific knowledge for those projects to make sure that the scope is fully understood and that the experience level with those projects is fully understood. I don't know that enough is submitted in the procurement packet that the scorers can have a full appreciation for what's included in that. So maybe the part that we move forward is to have the jurors that have that prior knowledge at least available to answer questions to the scoring committee while the scoring process is going on, not to influence the scoring process.
That's politics.
How long have y'all been doing it?
A long time.
And it works.
It works.
Doesn't satisfy everybody, but it works.
It's the
Take the
reason,
politics out
the
of it.
reason why the committee is not made of jurors is to remove the politics.
Politics, I agree.
It's not broken.
Okay, any more discussion on that?
Yeah. So y'all don't think that the RFQ could include a pool of engineers? Y'all don't think that is wise based on what I've shared with you?
If I can just speak to the
Yes,
legality
please,
of it,
please.
Ms. Kim's correct in the sense of, and I think Mr. Irving referenced it as well. you have federal requirements and you have state requirements. So if we're talking about DOTD, that's going to be a state program. If we're going after these federal dollars, that requires you to go down the path of a quote unquote bid process, meaning that it's an RFQ, but we're still taking the most advantageous to the jury. We have to go off that RFQ system or we will not get those federal dollars. So we move down the path, we do the project, we do not get the funding, and we are out of millions of dollars. So it would always be my recommendation that we adhere to the federal requirements. And I think that's what we did in this particular position. If it's a state program, that's a different conversation. And I think we should talk about that at an alternate event. Yes, you got it.
Anybody?
Okay. Okay, next item, request approval to go out to bid for Jolie Moore Street Drainage Project.
Yes, I had brought this to your attention at the last meeting. We have a projected bid date of September 15th. However, at that meeting, we needed a formal motion to place this project out to bids.
I do not believe we can go out to bid for this project yet.
Okay.
We don't have this contract under scope for the bids and specifications to go out for bid and administration of the project. The only thing that was approved was the engineering and a project in a drainage project for this area.
Whatever you all wish to do, just please provide some direction.
So what was approved for this project?
So we approved the engineering
With local funds.
and you have a drainage project in your, actually, I think it was 2 other jurors supplemented that project for the engineering phase. But that doesn't authorize to go out for bid. We don't have the funding in place.
For Jolie Moore?
Phillimore definitely had local engineering because we didn't procure it. So it has local engineering. The engineering is covered. Is Jolimore a Gomesa project?
That was a little mission project.
So that scope has to go out. That's federal money. We have to procure that. So whatever type of project that is, what that scope is, we need to gather all the other projects with that similar scope and prepare an RFQ to go out.
At this point, we will simply submit the plans and specifications to you, the jury, since they are completed and they are specified to the guidelines of the Gomesa project with regards to Davis-Bacon wages and other stipulations that are required by the Gomesa projects. And at that time, you can, if you want to group them, that is up to you all. I understand that process. My question to that would be, understanding that the engineering was paid for via local funds. I am not aware that Gomesa requires you to group all projects when it comes to bidding the actual construction.
You're correct, because I'm looking at this now, but we had this jury approved for us to go out for RFQ for administration of the funds. We are still waiting for a refined scope on that for Megan to put that out. So we don't have anyone to administer this grant.
Understood.
So if we go out for bid for construction, who's going to administer the grant? Then you're going to come back later and you're going to say, okay, y'all told me to do this, so I have a contract for $126,000 for administration of the grant. We have no contract in hand. We can't pay for it because we didn't procure it. We're back to where we were just.
Understood. So as stated, I will
That's
just
the
simply turn
portion.
over the plans and then I will await direction from the jury.
And we really need to refine that scope so we can go out for procurement for the administration of the Gomesa funds.
Chris, I have a question. Joseph, I have a question on this. So we were doing some work in the area and I asked Brett about it. Was there previously a project that was supposed to go from Scott Drive, Crossover Road in the lady Miss Debbie's ditch previously? We talked about that today. Because that job actually stops at the end of that culvert, which leaves a 4-foot wide open ditch all the way across Over Road. But the constituent stated that previously there was a project somewhere. We looked for it, but we couldn't find it. But it goes from there. So
if you can make changes, I recommend that we add the 24-inch culverts from there to Crossover Road. It would there close that ditch area up is what her ask is. And I think there was a project previously accounted for there, but we don't, there's culverts on site. There were 18-inch culverts, actually 8 of them, 20-foot long.
Oh, you know where those covers come from?
That was there. Those cars been sitting in that lady's yard for over 15 years, Pat. I mean, Chris, I'm talking about back in Jordan and on Crossover Road, they've been there. That was before my time.
Before my time too, but,
Do the culverts belong to the jury?
She said that it belonged to us.
She said they belonged to us, but I cannot see the jury leaving 150-foot, 160-foot culvert in somebody's yard on an unfinished project. I just
Are
can't see
they in
that.
good shape?
They actually
They're in good
hand
shape.
core. They don't all gonna make hand. They stopped making hand core culverts in 2005.
Are they usable?
They usable, but they have did it, you know.
But Ms. Debbie did state that those culverts were too small
Yes. they're
for
too
the
small for that
distance of the
job.
outfall. So she actually verbally told me on the phone that it was recommended that it was 24-inch culverts. So they were too small at that time. So it needs to be upgraded to 24-inch culverts to accommodate the amount of water flow coming off of both roads. If you calculate the hydraulics.
I would request permission to meet with Mr. Blankenship, let him go through those plans as we have accounted for all of the culverts as well as sized them all the way down. I am fully aware that the culverts towards the back will in fact need to be 24-inch. And we have in the plans to make that as part of the construction as increasing the size of those culverts as need be. So I would invite him, if it's all right with the jury, please let him come to our office, review the drawings. And if there are some changes that he would like to incorporate, we'll be happy to do so.
I'm not on that committee.
Yeah, I mean. No problem. Mr. Como, y'all good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion to allow, motion to allow
Yeah,
the,
no motion, just let
okay.
him go. That's what y'all all do. Y'all all go to his office.
I'm only trying to help y'all. I got y'all permission, right? All right.
All right.
So
Update on-
relative to your original request, Megan, we really got to get moving on that RFQ for the administration. And the reason, in her defense, the delay is the motion by this jury was to seek RFQs for the administration and oversight of federal grants. We're looking for a little bit more information to put into that RFQ to make it more accountable to what we really look for than just that one line.
It's gonna apply to more than just this project.
Yes.
There are multiple projects that the engineering was paid with local funds. And the administration and the inspection side of it is gonna have to be paid for through Mesa because there are no more local funds to pay for it.
Right. So once we can get that RFQ done, then projects will be ready to go because we'll have somebody in place to administer these grants, these projects.
Okay, update on natural gas pump on Oak Lane.
So
Somebody.
I was at the back of Oak Lane, actually, about a week ago, we paid for it, but they still haven't ran the gas supply to the pump. I'm currently waiting on the pricing to come back. We're closing here shortly. I'll send it out. We should meet our 30 days and then it'll come back in and then we'll move forward with purchasing. But our gas service is still not there.
Call them, see where they at.
No, sure will.
Okay, update on Jarrow Street.
Yes.
Project.
Yes, at the previous meeting, you all allocated or allowed us to acquire surveying services in order to survey the center line of Carroll Street. This will facilitate the Corps of Engineers actually completing the wetlands determination for us so that we will not have to go out and hire a service. And the initial thought process in our discussions with the Army Corps of Engineers is that the amount of land affected being less than an acre may be something that can be handled without necessarily having to mitigate. We have contacted GIS surveying. They did complete the survey previously. That's why we went with them. We are simply awaiting a time that they can do that center line. Once we have it flagged, I will then contact the Army Corps of Engineers and let them know that it is done. I have been in contact with them, and they are aware that we are having it surveyed. They did request that we have that center line.
Think how
flagged.
soon as we can. Flagging is done. Flagging is done.
Survey is done.
Survey's done. He has to schedule, he would have to schedule the flagging of the center line, and we will work with Henry with their office once he has time to schedule that and get it done.
Time frame? Yeah. 2 weeks.
Okay. Update on ring levies in Fairport and Bell River.
Yes, the ring levy project, we are currently working on the HMIA study that was requested by the Department of Natural Resources, and we are also coordinating with the Army Corps of Engineers on that project to do the exact same thing with regards to the wetlands determination, because the number of ring levies and the actual footprint in the wetland, quote unquote, wetland or non-wetland area that is in question is less than 1 acre. We have a request now for the Army Corps of Engineers to basically do the same thing. Let them do the actual wetlands determination, and in that process would then save the jury the cost of having to get an environmentalist out there, as well as doing a full wetlands determination report. The HMIA study is a little bit more in depth. It is being required by DNR. Currently, we are identifying the watershed areas for each one of the ring levies. That has to be mapped out along with the acreages and the drainage calculations and flow for each one of those individual areas to each pump, along with calculations. I am projecting that this study will be completed by my office in approximately 2 weeks.
So you think this could happen in my lifetime? Seriously?
Depending on how long you live.
This is a state right of way that we put these
Dude.
levies in. It
Well,
is, this is
it's
absolutely
unbelievable.
ridiculous.
I'm just tired of hearing it. I want it done.
All right. Next items, update on fire hydrants replacement project.
Yeah, Mr. Como, there's really no update. Haven't had a chance to get a hold of Senator Ed Price. He's had a family member that died with a death in their family. So I'll reach back out to him sometime early part of next week, and hopefully I can provide some information to the jury.
Okay. Update on Lee Drive project.
Lee Drive, we had a meeting with the contractor this afternoon at 1 o'clock. We rode the project from one end to the other several times. We have marked areas where basically that need to be addressed via basically either need to be repaved or revisited or re-smoothed out. We also identified a number of areas that we are considering punch list items. Currently, they are still working on attaching the driveways as well as placing shoulder material. Once that is complete, we will then do, and they have addressed the areas that we identified, we will again do another final walkthrough. At that point, we will be coming to the jury with the final balance of quantity change order and be able to move forward with the striping and close the project out.
Have they, I guess, have you gotten the results from the core samples taken for the patchwork that was done?
I do not have those core samples yet, no, sir.
Did they take core samples?
Yes. Yes, that is one of the items that we need to be able to evaluate before final acceptance. But right now, we identified in walking the project today, we did identify some areas that in our opinion are areas of concern with regress with regards to the way the asphalt is riding, not only the smoothness, but we identified some areas where we see some segregation. So we are asking for additional testing be done by the contractor and supplied to us within the cost of the contract.
Did y'all notice the cross culverts that was subsiding? That's all subsiding on top of cross culvert?
Yes, we identified, we rode the entire project and we marked and identified all of those areas.
I would like to get a RRI study done, test on it, the International Roughness Index test,
Okay.
to check the smoothness of the road.
Okay, next item, update on the Ag Center roofing project.
Ag Center roof project, we received those design contracts back this week. The preliminary design is completed on the roof. We do need to identify how we're going to, particularly on the concession stand roof, we have to remove the hood vent system that's there. And so I will be getting with Mr. Bryan to see if that's something we want the contractor to do. And that would be something I recommend. But the parish at that point would have to store it in a secure facility. And then we have to work out how that is going to be reinstalled and retested because it is all tied to that hood system. Once those questions are answered, that project should be ready to go to bid, and I will be presenting the plans to the jury for approval.
And myself.
That's it. Motion to adjourn by Mike. Second by Leroy, all in favor? Opposed?
We call to order the 6 o'clock regular meeting of the Fully Jurors. Let the record reflect all jurors are present. Please rise for our pledge of allegiance, followed by this prayer. God, who teaches us by sending the light of the Holy Spirit into our hearts, grant that by the light of that Spirit, right judgment may be ours, and that we may ever find joy in his guidance. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public comment period. Any public comment for any item on the agenda? Yes, sir. You state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Warren Gonzalez. My address is 266 Highway 1012. Okay, with all of this other stuff about a Tacopon, this on the agenda at the bottom end, there was the major federal awards program audit. Okay, and in that audit, they showed that we were in violation by not going out for bids, basically, for the engineering of the Tacopon launch. What kind of effect that's gonna have with the completion of the launch? You know what I'm talking about?
It has no bearing on
No,
the
that
construction.
finding in the audit was a finding that we knew was coming because of our process. We were notified that we had to change the way that we obtain engineering
Yeah,
services
this
for the
is what y'all
federal.
were talking about a while ago, about finding an engineer to do the work. And so all you have to do is, so you're not gonna be fined or anything like that?
Ms. Suzanne, would you like, or would y'all like to answer to that? Our auditors are here.
Comment section.
Want to answer or you don't?
She gonna be giving a report later.
She's gonna be giving a report
Okay,
later.
why don't she address that when she comes up?
She's-
If
okay.
Mr. Gonzalez has any other comments, sir?
So she's gonna make.
She's gonna make a report later.
Because one of the things y'all were talking about was like picking 3 engineers, you can't do that kind of stuff because it outlines specifically what you gotta do. But so she's gonna address the part,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
so is it gonna affect the completion date?
No, that's not gonna affect the construction. The construction is separate and important.
Okay.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, talking about the federal funding and everything, I've seen the same thing that, Mr. Sir? Jeremy Landry. The same thing that he's brought up, that I've been listening to all of these things that's going on. We're illegally, and not to say that you knew this, of course. I see a bunch of new faces, and I know you're trying to fix these things, right? One of the things that you can't award a federal contract to, and it says in your audit, is non-competitive contracts to consultants that are on retainer. And I think you all have Mr. Savoy on retainer, so he shouldn't be getting any of these jobs. So I just want to make you all aware of what's going on, make the public aware
Because they're sitting back home sometimes and watching these types of things, and we need to clean up what has happened in the past, right? You agree?
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, we just need to clean up. I mean, I'm not saying that any of you all did anything intentionally, but if you know what's wrong, you can fix it, right?
Need to fix it.
So we need to look at these things and we need to do the right thing every time.
That's right.
Last call for public comment. Drainage Committee report, Mr. Palmville.
This Drainage Committee meeting was held this afternoon at 4:30. All members were present. Requested to accept the resignation of Stephen Semino and Rodney Semino and replace them with Ben LeBlanc and Ron Paul Edwards on the Gravity Drainage District number 5.
Yeah.
Can't hear me. All right. Item number 2, request approval to clean outfall on Sophie Street. Item number 3, we approve the repair outfall at Highway 1 and Oak Street. Item number 4, we approve, but we table the trash guard at the dam. Item number 5, we approve to remove the tree from Bayou St. Vincent. And an update on the 403 drainage project. We discussed the parish catch basins. We approved to reallocate the money from the Giat Street project back to the drainage fund and utilize the Oak Lane project funding for the Giat Street project. We had an update on the submersible pump down North Bay Road. We had a request for a pump replacement on Cajun Street. And we approved to go out for the long reach excavator rental. I present this all in form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Palmville, second by Mr. Mathern, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Finance Committee met, all members were present. We approved to pay the list of bills submitted through July 7th, 2023. We approved the supplemental pay for ADA Jeffrey M. Haglin. We approved the rental rate for the AHS Sports fundraiser at the APCC at a cost of $2,500. We accepted the low bidder Republic Services for the dumpster proposals received, and we approved the amended budget for 2023.
Motion to accept your report.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Nakhan, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Personnel Committee report.
Personnel Committee met at 5:13. All members were present. We approved the proposed personnel manual amendments as it was presented to us. I presented a form of a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Mathern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Federal Programs Committee report.
Other programs met at 5:15 p.m. All members were present. First item we had was the request approval to authorize the president to sign the LAHEAP fiscal year 2023 amendment. It's in the amount of $28,743. Previous recipients it's available for an additional 3,000, or shall I say 3,000 of those dollars is to be used for crisis. Also, under that same, we have got $24,000, $24,150 is to be used for cooling assistance, and it is additional funds that we have to hear that the department has received for doing well in extending or expending the funds that they were initially given. As a result, by doing a good job with that, they got an additional $24,150. So good job on that. Also, number 2, we got request approval to authorize the president to sign CSBG fiscal year 2024 contract for the amount of $75,836. This is not for previous clients. I'll ask all the above in the form of motion.
A motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Engineering Grants Committee report, Mr. Como.
Yes, the engineering grant committee met this afternoon. All members were present. We were given an update from GIS engineering on the status, project status and funding sources. We're given an update from the grants coordinator. We approved the president to sign solicitation of used letter for Bell Road Library Walking Trail and Recreation Trails. We approved the president to sign Constant Canal CEA. We approve the president to negotiate signed contract with Infinity Engineering for sewer rehab project. We approve the final approval for the mobile home park at 6686, 6692, and 6698 Highway 1 in Bell Rose. We approve the payment of the engineering work done on the parish-wide sewer project and identity funding source up to the 40%. We approve to rent equipment for the Bertrandville drainage outfall cleaning and snagging project and authorize road and bridge staff to complete the project. We approve the change order for GIS engineering for Plottenville drainage project not to exceed $400. We was given a thorough update on Tacopah landing project. We approved to go out for bid for Jolimar Street drain. No, we tabled that. I'm sorry, we tabled it. I got it. I got two different things, yeah. We were given an update on natural gas pump on Oak Lane, an update on Gerald Street levee project, an update on the ring levees in Fairport and Bell River, update on fire hydrant replacement no, that was tabled too. Update on Lee Drive project and an update on the Ag Center roofing project. It's all in the form of.
Motion by Mr. Como,
Second.
second by Mr. Alcorn, all in favor?
Nay, I'm nay to number 8.
Noted. Next item, presentation from Postal Waste in Netterville regarding 2022 audit.
My name Tiffany Dorsa with Postal Waste Netterville, formerly Postal Waste Netterville. We're now Eisner Amper. We merged in May. If y'all haven't heard the news, so the name will change next time we talk with you all. I brought Suzanne Giroir, who's going to help me pass out some of these reports before we get started. Nighttime reading.
Mike, on, Mike?
You can have it.
If we want, Mike?
I know we paperless, right? We are with everything.
See. What you just gave me. Well.
All right, thank y'all so much. We're here to summarize the audit results of the December 31st, 2022 audit. What we're going to go over is a little short book. All the rest of it is for bedside reading. But we did the short version for you all. Hopefully you had an opportunity to review the audit, but we're going to give a high level overview. The first part of our presentation is what we're required to communicate to you all as those charged with governance as required by our standards. Our responsibility under generally audited, generally accepted auditing standards is that we audit your financial statements. That we give you an opinion on those financial statements. And we gain an understanding of controls, we do a risk assessment, and we provide you with that opinion over the financial statements. We're happy to report that our audit opinion on these financial statements is an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance we can provide you on a set of financial statements. It says that the financial information contained within this document is materially correct in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. There are significant accounting policies that go along with these financial numbers. So all the numbers in the front have supporting notes to them. Those accounting policies tell you how things are recognized and the differences between some of your financial reporting that you may see in these financial statements that you don't see on an ongoing basis. As you all know, on a monthly basis, and when y'all meet, y'all see fund level financial information. At the end of the year, we come through and we do the final GAAP required financial report, which puts all of your governmental funds into a full accrual basis, and we call that the government-wide financial statements. That's shown once a year. It's required by GAAP, but it's not the way you budget or how you monitor your resources. So it is required by GAAP. There are judgments and accounting estimates within these financial statements. There are very large estimates within these financial statements. Most of them relate to the net pension liability that's reported in your financial statements, as well as the other post-employment benefit obligations. Those are determined by actuarial valuations. So the assumptions that go into those valuation reports that are done by those actuaries is what drives valuation of those liabilities. We do not have any significant audit adjustments that were made to the financial statements. As I said, we do assist with the preparation of financial statements to convert your fund level financial statements to your government wide, but that's not considered an audit adjustment. That's just our assistance in getting you to GAAP basis financial statements. We do not have any disagreements with management during our processes. We're not aware of any consultations that had to be made outside with other accountants. We had no major issues discussed with management prior to our retention as your auditors, and we did not have any difficulties while performing our audit procedures. So thanks to the team, the finance team, thanks to Kim for all her assistance in helping us get that completed. We appreciate it. Next page talks about our independent audit report. The way it's laid out in the financial statement is that we give the opinion first, which was a new presentation last year. And then what is our basis for those opinions? So we do have, we have to report under generally accepted accounting principles, and we also have to follow government auditing standards, which is required by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor, and we follow GASB, which is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board accounting policies. Our responsibility is to audit the financial statements, as I said. We do present required supplementary information. That information is not audited, but is required for disclosure within the financial statement. The other supplementary information is reviewed and considered as part of our audit opinion, and it says it's in relation to the financial statement as whole is materially correct. We do issue a report under government auditing standards, as I said. That report required by our standards is that we gain an understanding of whether or not internal controls are in place, but we don't give you an opinion on internal controls, nor do we give you an opinion on compliance. So we look at your contracts, laws, regulations that may be material and may apply, that may affect the financial report. And we would identify any findings that we would note that came up within that report that relates to your state contracts, your federal contracts. We're gonna talk about in a minute because we do a separate report on your federal expenditures and the federal grant report that's required under uniform guidance. But with respect to the government auditing standards report, we did not identify any items to report as a finding or any other matter under the yellow book, what we call the yellow book report. That's the next page, page 4, which says, again, understanding of internal controls, but we don't give you an opinion. We did not report any material weaknesses, significant deficiencies in your internal controls. We went through those processes. We did not identify any material non-compliance with respect to that report. And then Suzanne's going to walk you through the overview of the numbers. Okay. So the next page, you can see it's called government-wide financial statements. As Tiffany mentioned, so these statements put onto your balance sheet, all of your assets, all your liabilities. So your debt is shown there, your, all your fixed assets, okay? So your total assets for 2022 is approximately $88.6 million. About half of that is cash and investments of about $40 million, of which 21 million of that is restricted. You have another about $42 million in fixed assets. So it makes up that 88, that's the majority. Your liabilities of $24.4 million is mainly made up of your debt, your bonds that you have outstanding, about $12.7 million there. And then you had some unearned coronavirus funds that hadn't been spent yet. So it's about a little bit less than $6 million there. So you can see your total net position is nearly $62 million. Very positive there in total. And then for the year, you had a net increase in your net position. So, you know, a lot of people think of that as net income. So positive number, 125,678. The other thing I'll mention there is that you see the unrestricted number is negative. That's very common in every government because of those liabilities I mentioned, those significant liabilities. You have most of your net position is in your fixed assets, and then the rest of it is restricted for other purposes that you can only use for those purposes. So on a full accrual basis, you are in a negative position, but that's because of those significant liabilities as it relates to net pension and the other post. Next page it's a 14-year history on your tax revenues. The blue line, the top line, is the sales tax revenue, and the green is your property tax revenue. So you can see for sales tax, there's a good bit of fluctuation until about 2014. So there in the past were a lot of sales tax audits that went on external, and then you either got you know, settlements on those and things like that. So that kind of had that moving around a little bit. And then in 2014 is pretty much the close of McDermott. So you see that sharp decline and then kind of starts building again after that. For property taxes, there's a big jump. And they in 2014, there was a huge settlement. There were a lot of special audits or where it uncovered several companies that were underreporting inventory. So you see that change there. Otherwise, it's, you know, follows more of a steady line, a steady increase. So the next page is the major funds that are reported in your financials, just some basic info on your revenues, total revenues, expenditures, and the net profits for those funds. So you'll notice Section 8 generally operates at a break-even level. The American Rescue Plan Act has no revenues or expenses because they were all deferred. They weren't spent yet as of December 31st. You do have approximately 70 funds though to account for. So the rest of those are in that non-major category. So the next graph shows your government expenses function. So this pretty much is a comparison of 21 to 22. It shows how and where you spend your money. There is an increase of about $3.2 million or 21% from the prior year, but you did have a number of capital projects going on during 2022. Which sounds like might be the case for 2032. After the last discussion. So then we have a 14-year history of federal grant expenditures. From 2022, that number is nearly $3.6 million. And you see some big swings in here as well. So in 2012, you had the community center that was built, this building. So those were the main projects that year. In 2016, you had the Mississippi River reintroduction to the Bayou Lafourche. That was one of your big projects that year. And then I think you had a number of other sewer projects as well. So you can see the number kind of goes back to some, you know, normal level for the police jury after that. For the past 5 years, you'll have had steady increase in the federal assistance that you're receiving, which means more attention is needed to those those efforts and federal programs. So it just goes to show that y'all are, responsible for a whole lot of money, and it's growing. And so it's good for the parish. So
Yeah. So the last schedule is a comparison of your federal awards from 21 to 2022. So it's an increase of about $1.5 million. And the two main causes for the increase are your GOMESA funding that you spent on some equipment, sewer pumps and improvements, and then also some debt repayments. And then the other area that increases GOSEP, so that's due to Hurricane Ida.
Oh, sorry.
Can't turn the mic on, you're gonna get feedback on YouTube.
Oh. All right, so speaking of those federal major programs, in the big book there starts the schedule of expenditure of federal awards that Suzanne just went over is on pages 120 and 121. You can see the amount of federal assistance that you give from the different various granting agencies that the parish deals with. Our schedule of findings and question costs are on page 122. But this page here in our presentation summarizes the results of our federal audit program. We audited 2 federal programs, the GOMESA program, as well as FEMA this past year, which was the most significant federal expenditures that you did have in 2022. The requirement under uniform guidance is that we do a risk assessment of federal expenditures, and those are required to be tested if it exceeds over $750,000 is a major program. And then there's a 3-year rotation. If you continue to have the same amount of funding, you have to go back every 3 years and revisit different programs. But this year under that risk assessment, we wind up auditing 2 major programs. And we also have some coverage issues as well. So we have to cover at least 20% of your federal expenditures when we go through that risk assessment. The Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act, the GOMESA, was 34% of the total expenditures, and then FEMA was 17% of the total expense. The FEMA program, we did not identify any findings with respect to that major federal program. Uniform guidance requires us to look at a minimum of 6 different compliance requirements: allowable cost, allocable costs, cash management, procurement, all of there's several different compliance areas that are required to be looked at. As a result of that, when we reviewed the GOMESA program, because it's bond funded and the payments are going back with federal assistance, federal rules have to apply. It's kind of a unique situation with respect to how this program works. And so under federal regulation, professional services has to go through the procurement process. That's different from state law. State law does not require all professional services to go through the bid process. So that's a difference between federal and state rules. So depending on how things are funded will depend on whether or not those have to be complied with. So with respect to the program, we looked at all of the professional service contracts. So we picked all 6 that were paid for with these fundings. Out of the 6, there were 3 professional services that were related to professional services. And 2 of those did not go out for bid. So we questioned the cost of $150,000 as it related to those professional services. And what does that mean? So it doesn't mean you have to necessarily pay it back. And it doesn't mean that your projects aren't funded, right? The project's already been funded. So the question becomes, what does that mean for the police jury? So most of the time that can all be worked out through the review process by your cognizant agency that reviews these audits. Typically, it's just an understanding of what happened. They may or may not ask you back for that funding, but given the nature of what it is, there's a reasonable explanation for what was done. We question the cost because the reason is you don't know if you paid the lowest price, right? So anyway, so that was the reason that we did give a qualified opinion on that major program as it related to that specific compliance area. We did test other compliance areas of the GOMESA program and had no matters to identify there. In relation to that, The contract provisions are very specific under uniform guidance.
And lengthy.
And very lengthy. So the contract provisions as it related to these services for a couple of the contract didn't have all of the requirements that are required under federal regulations. So that was our two findings. And I'll take any questions that you all have.
I have one question here. So you just mentioned that by not properly procuring the services, we didn't secure the lowest possible cost.
We don't know
but-
that.
Was that?
I said, we don't know that.
But we can't evaluate based on cost. It's only on qualifications. So will we ever know if you got the lowest cost?
Well, if you go through the qualification process, they give you rates and you charge by rates, right? So you get the lowest rate at that time for those professional services. There's a way to go through the process.
You don't know what their rates are.
Part of that evaluation is you're not allowed to use costs for that evaluation, so you don't have rates.
Yeah.
You don't have rates.
Engineering and professional services cost, especially when it's related to construction, even on federal projects, is based on a fee curve. And all engineers should be using that same fee curve so that those costs should be comparable.
There's a documentation analysis that needs to happen.
All in all, a good audit.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Good.
Good job, Kevin.
That's our staff.
I understand. Okay. Y'all started getting with.
Yeah, we just left. It was
No,
about,
the audit-
it's about,
The audit process.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it.
Any other questions?
Nope. Motion to approve the report.
Got a motion to approve the report by Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Como. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, ladies.
thank you so much.
Next item, discuss capital outlay funds.
Couldn't make it.
Are we gonna table it? All right, item will be tabled. Contact them will be here next meeting.
All right, you can get it.
Item 11, request approval to adopt ordinance 23-06 to amend section 252 polling place for Ward 3 Precinct 1.
We're really not gonna request approval at this point. We're gonna call for a public hearing to move that polling place since it's not an emergency situation. This has to do with when the state does the reevaluations and you have under 300 active voters, then they encourage you to merge or move the polling precinct. Otherwise, you are going to have to fund the election 100% in that area. So I spoke with Mr. Como about this and he said to move forward with merging it with relocating it to another precinct. So we're gonna just take this under, present it to you all for approval and call for a public hearing for next meeting.
No action.
Well, yeah, approve and call for public hearing.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the preliminary ordinance
Second.
and submit it for public hearing at our next meeting. Second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consideration of adopting an ordinance relative to governing Attakapaw landing.
Same thing here. You should have a copy that's in your paperwork. The bottom portion is blue. In speaking with Mr. Diaz, upon the completion of Attakapaw landing, he requested having an ordinance specific to Attakapaw. That way, the sheriff's office didn't have to go to one section of the code of ordinances for a mooring law and then a no parking law somewhere else. So Mr. Calabro did revise this for us. And here it is for your presentation to where we'd like to amend this ordinance to have it specific to Attakapaw landing. And here are the items that are up for discussion right now. And if approved, then we would also call for a public hearing.
That's everything that's listed on the signage.
Right.
Looks good to you?
And we already have a lot of items under chapter 18 of our code of ordinances under Parks and Recreation. We just had to address it specific to Attakapaw, so that's what you see in front of you. I don't see really any issues on recommending this for approval.
Motion, man?
Motion.
All right, have a motion to approve by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll call for a public hearing at our next meeting.
President, I didn't get to read it all. Is there anything on here for non-compliance relevant to, I see here, one moment you make reference to trash. So let's say they're not putting the trash where it should be. I know at one point we had problems with other storing trash or bringing
Still
trash.
going on.
Is it there?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good, good.
What we're gonna do is try to, again, give the sheriff's office enough teeth to enforce the biggest areas of concern at the landing.
Okay.
As it relates to trash, he'd then have to circumvent, go to our trash ordinance. And then any violations would be handled under that ordinance, not this one. But we just addressed it all in one place, so he had the ability to do that moving forward.
And one day we'll have cameras, so you could be, we should have.
So this would be only for attack.
This section,
This
the
section
upper
is-
section applies to all launches.
This is just.
The new items are
Specific
just
project.
added there.
Unless you want to adopt something for your boat launch.
We're not having no problem.
All right, we'll go.
Next item, request approval to adopt a resolution authorizing an agreement with the Assumption Parish Village Jury and South Central Planning and Development Commission for professional services under the Gomesa Act to provide labor compliance review and reporting for Davis-Bacon wage rates.
Okay, request approval to adopt a resolution might be a little bit premature because we have to discuss this. Basically, these are the grants that are currently underway, Attakapaw Landing, Lee Drive, and Highway 70 Cross Culvert project. The wage verifications and labor compliance review has not been done for these projects. We need to get this done. This is a requirement for federal funds. In order to proceed with South Central Planning to do this without procuring, we have to use local funds to pay it. If we try to use Gomesa funds to pay for this, it must be procured. So we have to discuss this. Where are we going to go? In the future, we're going to need to procure out this service for all the projects and contracts for the funding to come out of the Gomesa.
All right. So, well, at this time, we really don't have time to procure for these projects. So we're going to have to commit local funds for the compliance review and reporting for the 3 projects mentioned. For the other projects, that is included in the RFQ that we will be going out for shortly.
They gave us a cost estimate.
Well, they have, again, they don't know the projects that it entails and the involvement, and they provided, according to the resolution, a list of their staffing and their wages. And they're gonna, Kevin Belanger stated that, along with this resolution, stated that it would be, let's see, based on their hourly intake. Yeah, in accordance with the commission-approved billable rates as attached. So they're not going to be able to give a cost estimate in advance. It's going to depend on how much time it takes to do this.
And they'll do it all for cost.
And we really have no choice to do this because we need to get this compliance report done before the projects are complete.
Question. As pertains to projects that we're using half capital outlay and half Gomesa. We're still gonna follow the same rules since we're gonna
If
use
it's a
that.
portion of it is
Okay, so
federal.
make sure that's all included too as well.
Yeah, and just while we're on this conversation, you all need to realize that we have X amount of dollars for construction, but all this administration that's tied to all of this, it's gonna have to come out of that. It's gonna reduce the construction. It's just, I mean, the cost of doing this.
So we have a motion by Mr. Nakam to adopt the resolution to authorize an agreement between the parties, second by Mr. Diaz, all in favor? Opposed?
Okay, but we have to identify the funding sources for each. Attakapaw Landing, I would say is general fund. Lee Drive and Highway 70 Cross Culvert. Road and Bridge or road fund?
Hold up, what?
Road and Bridge.
Road and bridge.
Road and Bridge?
Road and Bridge, because the Road and Bridge is funded through 1%.
Okay.
I would still like to know.
Highway 70 Cross Culvert, is that more road and bridge or drainage?
Down the road and bridge. Drainage is broke.
Well,
I
they
still like to
may,
know a number, Kim. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable voting on something I don't know what, I can't give them an open checkbook.
it's not gonna be an open check. Jamie, you don't know me by now. Once I can identify the 3 projects with them, then when we sit down and look at it, they might be able to look at the scope of the project, see how many contractors they have to actually reach out to. then they might be able to give us a basis for that.
Keep a tight lid on it.
Let us know.
Keep a tight lid.
Yeah, I mean, I'll work with Kevin on that and see, but he couldn't give a blanket number as well because he doesn't know how many contractors involved with each project.
In the third project,
Attackable Landing, Lee Drive overlay, and Highway 70 cross culvert.
so Lee Drive and Highway 70 will gonna be both
Yeah.
be road and bridge.
Right.
Good. So we had a motion on the floor by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval to reappoint Dow Rebear to the Atchafalaya Trace Commission Board for another term.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Fonzo, second by Mr. Bethune. All in favor? Opposed? Discuss Assumption Parish 4-H utilizing Ezekiel Street Yard for a shooting range.
Table.
No, well. Miss Margaret was here to, she actually approached me about this item. And I wanted her to give a little presentation as to what it would be involved with it and who it would affect and how it would be insured, and we can go from, the jury would have to make a decision on it.
So, good afternoon. Presently, right now, we offer shooting sports to all our kids throughout the parish. If you've seen on Facebook, it is a growing by leaps and bounds. It's one of the biggest things we do within our parish, and it's also the biggest in the state of Louisiana. Presently, right now, we do archery practice once a week under our big barn at the Ag Center. We do BB and rifle on private property in Pierpont, and we do shotgun in Belrose on private property. So Mr. Paul, myself, and Mr. Brian were talking one day, and we were trying to figure out a way we could get all those things done at our Ag Center facility. Rifle cannot be done because you have to have a burn. That's out of the question. Shotgun can be done, and we've done it there for 2 years, and we got with Mr. Leland. But every time we had practice, 3 or 4 units come out, shut us down. They got to call and say, oh no, they can do it. And then we don't have lighting. So that always makes our practice go into where the kids can't practice. This would be no cost to you at all. Anywhere we hold a true 4-H shooting sports practice is covered under the Ag Center insurance. It doesn't matter where it's at, it's covered under our insurance. All my coaches are all properly trained and all background screened. Because anytime we deal with kids, they would be the only people that would have true, I must use the word control, but I'm just saying they would be at all practices, making sure everything was taken care of. We do though, for our younger kids, they do have to have a parent with them, but those parents also are covered under my insurance. So it's just something we could get away from using private property, something that y'all had available if y'all see forth to us to use it.
Mr. Paul, am I seeing here where you're making reference to Ezekiel Street, which is where we've got our.
We own 40 acres. That's correct. It's our storage yard for all different issues, and there's a back section. It's over, I measured it as 2,500 feet from the nearest resident. But after speaking with our legal counsel, we need to do some more research. So that's I would advise the jury take this under advisement, and we have to do some more with Mr. Calabro and myself, do some more research, and because there are a lot of questions that need to be answered with this. Do we have to fence it? That type of thing. We don't, because it's only we want it to be available to the school kids. We want this not be open to any general public, any type of thing like that. And then we want them to have access to that. So there's some questions that have to be answered. More than what I thought when she came originally asked me. But so I think we need to do some more research on this. It is a very good idea, and we do have the land to do it. I just don't know liability issues that come in effect.
And how far back when you want to put it, because we got elderly people that stay right to the front of there.
That's right. It's all to be all the way at the back. Chris, I measured this over 25. It's over half a mile at the back of we go all the way to the back, almost to the tree line.
Can they get there?
We have a road, yes.
Isn't Ezekiel Street where we may be going in the future with your main office, if it's being able to be built through the hazard mitigation?
No, we're not looking at that location.
Okay.
And that
is existing location, but.
yeah.
There's ordinance, right? We have ordinance about regulating shooting.
I didn't see any, I didn't see anything. That is shooting from a roadway or shooting from a resident, that type of thing. I don't see
Let me
that
ask you a
specific.
question. Have you contacted the National Guard to see about using the indoor range?
No, we haven't.
And I'm sure they would allow you. We used to use it with the sheriff office.
Okay.
So just try to talk to them. They got a nice indoor range right back here.
Okay.
Right there by the jail.
Yeah.
National Guard. They got indoor range. Wonderful.
We'll keep the line of communication open. I wanted you all to hear the proposal, and like Paul said, we'll take it under advisement, see what other items need to be addressed, and then we'll come back as we move forward.
National Guard place might be a good place.
Regardless of where the area would be, there's gonna need to be some improvements to meet the standards. Does the Ag Center have the funding, to make those improvements?
We have some, and we'll be willing to, I mean, we'd have to see how, I mean, we don't have unlimited funding. It would come from my budget through the parish, but we do have some.
Bigger expensive than a car.
It wouldn't be much.
No action,
No action.
no action on item 15.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marvel.
Item 16, request approval of a handshake permit for Church of God of Prophecy, November 4th, 2023.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of an occupational license for Serene Skin LLC Napoleonville, Be Fashionable LLC Napoleonville, Hair Unlimited and Tanning, DBA The Loft Salon and Spa Thibodeau, ownership change, and Lil Gary's Garage LLC Fairport.
Come on, Mr. Muffler.
That's your place.
Anybody got
That's your
any
place.
questions or concerns about any of it? Motion by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Carter, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of the following liquor license application. Christine Bolat, Verret Street, Platteville, Louisiana.
So moved.
Doing business as Alumni Softball Tournament, AHS Sports.
Hey, Steve.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And one abstain, Mr. Bethune. Any other business? Motion adjourned by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Fonville. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.